For the second video of the Rotten Blood series, I will be doing a hunting guide for Gloom Pillars, but before that, I must give some disclaimers. I am the lowest level on my party, so I will be recommending levels based off my team average rather than myself. I'm not claiming that this is the best way to go about it, it's what me and my team did and from my personal experience. We only stayed at the spawn long enough to charm it all and then left, which is still a decent commitment of time, and part of the reason we left was the difficulty and worse overall results to our Darklight hunts, but if you want to try it yourself, here we go. Starting with the general information. Out of the 4 creatures in here, the Darklight constructs are the least common and the Darklight emitters are the most common creature. The main mechanic of the spawn is a chain attack that comes off the player and then bounces off to others. So while hunting here, you will have 2 indicators. One is the charges for the boss access and the other is the chain indicator. When this one reaches 100, it triggers the chain. This, however, is a bit random of how it goes up. You all can go down at the same time into the spawn, but eventually there will be variables on when the chain is triggering for each, but they do match up quite often. Something we never tried was entering the spawn and increasing the charges to different amounts on each of us, and that might help slightly, because one of our main problems with the spawn was the chain damage, which is energy and you're not going to have much protection against it, since the main elements of the creatures are fire and holy. In the case of the EK, the physical is tied with this pretty much, but there is also around 12% of earth damage taken, which comes from the emitters only, and in pools with more emitters I will swap to guild necklaces. Rest of the time I was using magma amulets. Mages do take most damage on fire and holy, with the energy damage and some earth on top of it, so there is an argument for using elbow mails on the mages. We were hunting with the same idea of holding the formation for mass stress on everyone, but this was likely a mistake. Most people that hunt here are spreading out around the box, and then the chain bounces hit less people and is less damage. However, the argument for our style is keeping the EK healthier by missing less heals, and having the sorcerer UH more. I can't say which one is the correct way to go, since we only did it like this. As for what damage to use, EK should go with Death Weapon, and mages should use Thunderstorms. They are slightly resistant to Earth, but druids still hit hard with Terra Waves. As for Sorcerer, they are strong to fire, so you want to avoid using Fire Waves unless it's absolutely necessary for a new age turn. Most of the time the rotation will be based off energy waves, beams, and UEs. I hunted with 2 different sorcerers at some point and they had a different opinion on the beam, with one preferring energy beam due to the lower cooldown and better rotation, and the other will use Death Beam instead, but alternate between the two. Unfortunately for paladins, they don't take holy damage, so the classic wheels of grenade are pretty bad. You're better off going all in with divine empowerment instead. Lastly, for the lab we ended up using, I would recommend at least over level 1100 team, and this will require some good usage of mana shield from the mages, because my team had a bunch of high combos, especially my sorcerer proc Gift of Life quite often. The first pool is right by the stairs. We will do it a bit to the right around here, then continue going east into this room. Something worth noting is that all creatures retarget often. I will prioritize raising the pillars and constructs, especially when moving through the rooms, but the RP's main job is to take off the creatures from the mages. On this lab there is only a few pools with overlure. Most of it is pretty tame, which is why we found it best for charming. Continue south and stop around these pillars for the pool. After that, keep on going south but stop at the northern area of the room. This is one of the pools that results on overlure most of them because they come from all sides, so watch out for this. Next up is to the south. For this one I had to pick towards the sides to bring creatures sometimes, then go left afterwards. For this one I did have to constantly peek into the south path to bring 1 to 2 creatures nearby, and then quickly make it back to my spot before everyone sets up. This pool tends to be the most uncomfortable for everyone. Starting with the lure from the previous pool, if they are still alive, then the creatures I was luring from the south are likely to retarget before they make it to me, and the lack of space to move freely. All of that made this pool consistently bad, but is necessary. Next up, go northwest. For this one I will make it to the middle of the room, and sometimes peek to the right if I notice a creature there. Then continue the path north, and this one I will stand around the pillar in the middle. With this we will be back to the first pool, and that completes the lab. This was enough even when we got charms. You could remove the 2 southern pools while you are getting charms if you want, but I think that will make the pool southwest more dangerous. Later on, when we had full charms, we tried including one more pool as there was a little bit of overkill. Right by the first pool, we will go downstairs and clear that room. With that, the lab was enough and would work for up to 1500s in my opinion. But with an EK on that level range, you are likely able to do a lab to the sides which are easy to overlure. I personally will stick to this lab, but just increase the tempo of moving between the pools, and have the paladin bring the creatures from the back. Now, in terms of experience, while charming, we were doing around the 12kk raw, and with charms, it got up to around the 14kk with nearly 1.6kk profit each. This is not including soul cores or praise, and keep in mind our team was pretty high in average compared to my own. Regardless, at the time with the same team, we will do around 16kk XP with close to 1.2kk profit each at Darklight. These are without the boss, which we will save for the end of the hunt, but even Shagors is harder and more dangerous than Bemiath. I think now we could do better, but it will still be lower than Darklight in terms of XP, and the hunt does feel less safe for everyone. However, keep in mind there is a good chance we were trolling ourselves with the formation style. The hunt might be easier without it, and teams with a higher level EK can definitely get away with it easier. With that said, I'm leaving the Twitch bot in the description for the unedited raw footage of the first hunt if you are interested in more. I also plan on making more Rotten Blood content, so consider subscribing for that. The boss's guide for the quest will be coming soon too. Thank you for watching and hope you come back again.